My husband left me for a younger girl, so I took control. How I fought his betrayal and built a better life without him. You're getting old, Sandra. I found someone younger. Let's part ways without drama. Those words hit me like a freight train. I was sitting at our kitchen table, the same one where we'd shared countless dinners, laughed over spilled wine, and planned our future. Luke, my husband of 12 years, stood there, his face cold, like he was firing an employee, not dismantling our marriage. I was 38, not exactly ancient, but apparently old enough for him to trade me in for a newer model. My name's Sandra, and this is the story of how my world fell apart, and how I pieced it back together, stronger than before. It was a Tuesday evening, the kind of ordinary day that doesn't warn you it's about to change everything. I'd just gotten home from work, still in my blazer and skirt from the marketing firm where I'd been grinding for years. Luke was already home, which was unusual. He was a real estate agent, always out late with clients. I should have known something was off when he didn't kiss me hello, just gestured for me to sit down. I'd been thinking about this for a while, he continued, leaning against the counter, avoiding my eyes. It's not you, it's just. I need something different. Her name's Lillian. She's 25, full of energy. We connect in a way I haven't felt in years. I stared at him, my mouth dry. Lillian? Who's Lillian? He shrugged, like it was no big deal. She works at the coffee shop near my office. We started talking a few months ago, and things just happened. Things just happened? My voice cracked. Luke, we have a daughter. Ellie's 10. You're throwing away our family for some barista? He sighed, like I was the one being unreasonable. I'm not throwing anything away. I'll still be there for Ellie. I just can't do this, he waved his hand between us, anymore. I wanted to scream, to throw something, but I just sat there, numb. The man I'd built a life with, the one who'd promised to love me forever, was walking away because I wasn't young anymore. And the worst part? He thought he could do it without drama, like I'd just nod and say, sure, go be happy. The next few days were a blur. Luke moved out that weekend, renting an apartment downtown. He didn't even fight me on who'd stay in the house, which somehow made it worse, like he couldn't wait to start his new life. Ellie was confused, asking why Daddy wasn't home, and I had to choke out half-truths about him needing space. I couldn't tell her the real reason, not yet. But Luke's betrayal wasn't the only problem. Other issues started piling up, making everything feel like a house of cards collapsing. Money became a nightmare. Luke had always handled our finances, and I trusted him. Big mistake. Turns out, he'd been funneling money into a separate account for months, probably to fund his new life with Lillian. Our joint savings? Almost gone. I had enough to cover the mortgage for a few months, but after that, I was screwed. Then there was Ellie. She started acting out, skipping homework, talking back, crying herself to sleep. She blamed me for Luke leaving, saying I must have done something to make him go. I tried to stay strong, but hearing my own daughter turn against me cut deeper than Luke's words. My job was another mess. I'd been up for a promotion at the marketing firm, a senior manager role that would have given me a raise and some breathing room. But the stress of the separation made me slip, missed deadlines, botched presentations. My boss, Gabriel, pulled me aside one day. He was mid-40s, single, always professional, and had been my mentor for years. Sandra, you're not yourself, he said, not unkindly. I can't put you forward for the promotion if you're not at your best. Maybe take some time off? I wanted to tell him I couldn't afford time off, that I was barely holding it together, but I just nodded. I couldn't bring myself to admit how bad things were, not even to someone as steady as Gabriel. The final blow was my mother-in-law. Luke's mom called a week after he moved out, her voice dripping with pity. I'm so sorry, Sandra. I told Luke not to do this, but you know how he is. Maybe if you tried harder to keep things exciting. I hung up on her. Tried harder? I'd been the one holding our family together while Luke chased his midlife crisis. But her words stuck, gnawing at me. Was I too old? Too boring? Had I let myself go? Let's talk about the people in this mess, because they shaped how it all played out. I'm Sandra, 38, a planner by nature. At work, I map out campaigns, anticipate problems, and deliver results. But at home, I'd been too trusting, letting Luke take the lead on things like money. I'm not perfect, I can be stubborn, and I hate asking for help, but I'm loyal, and I fight for what matters. Luke's betrayal didn't just hurt, it woke up a side of me I'd forgotten, the woman who doesn't back down. Luke, 41, is charming, confident, and selfish. He's the kind of guy who can sell you a house you don't want and make you thank him for it. But he's also restless, always chasing the next shiny thing, whether it's a deal, a car, or a younger woman. He genuinely believes he's the victim, stuck in a marriage that held him back. Ellie, our 10-year-old daughter, is smart but sensitive. She's got Luke's charisma and my stubborn streak, a dangerous combo. She loves her dad, and his leaving shattered her sense of security. Her acting out wasn't just rebellion, it was her way of processing pain she didn't understand. Lillian, 25, is the other woman. I didn't know much about her at first, but I learned she's ambitious, working through grad school while slinging coffee. She's not evil, just young, naive, and dazzled by Luke's charm. Still, her role in this hurt, and I wasn't about to let her off easy. Gabriel, my boss, is steady and fair, the opposite of Luke, reserved, thoughtful, not one for grand gestures. He's been at the firm longer than me and knows the game, but he's got a quiet empathy that made me trust him, even when I was falling apart. I could have crumbled. Honestly, I almost did. But one night, after Ellie was asleep, I sat on the couch with a glass of wine and made a decision. I wasn't going to let Luke ruin me. I'd worked too hard, loved too fiercely, to let him walk away with everything. I needed a plan, one that would protect Ellie, secure my future, and maybe even make Luke regret underestimating me. My first step was getting control of the money situation. I hired a lawyer, Karen, a no-nonsense woman who specialized in messy divorces. She dug into Luke's finances and found proof he'd been siphoning funds, enough to build a case for financial misconduct. This could get you a better settlement, Karen said. But it'll be a fight. Luke won't go down easy. I didn't care. I wanted what was mine. Karen suggested I demand temporary alimony and child support, which would buy me time to stabilize. Luke fought it, claiming he didn't have the money. But Karen was relentless, and within weeks, we had a court order forcing him to pay. It wasn't enough to live comfortably, but it kept the lights on. Next, I focused on Ellie. Her behavior was getting worse, she'd started sneaking out to meet Luke behind my back, thinking he'd fix everything. I couldn't keep lying to her, so I sat her down one night. Ellie, your dad left because he made a choice, I said, keeping my voice steady. It's not your fault, and it's not mine. He's still your dad, but I need you to trust me to take care of us. She cried, then hugged me, something she hadn't done in weeks. It wasn't a fix, but it was a start. I enrolled her in counseling, which helped her open up about her anger and fear. Slowly, she started coming back to me. At work, I knew I had to turn things around. Losing the promotion had stung, but I wasn't giving up. I asked Gabriel for a meeting and laid it all out, not the gory details, but enough. I've been dealing with personal stuff, I said. But I'm back, and I want to prove I deserve that promotion. He nodded, thoughtful. All right, Sandra. There's a big client pitch next month. Let it, nail it, and we'll talk. I threw myself into the pitch, staying late, perfecting every slide. It was exhausting, but it gave me purpose. Gabriel's faith in me meant more than I expected. He'd check in, offer feedback, even bring me coffee when I was buried in work. I started Karen was a shark, and the judge wasn't buying Luke's act. We settled out of court, I got the house, primary custody of Ellie, and a decent alimony package. Luke wasn't happy, but I didn't care. He'd made his bed. The biggest drama came when I ran into Lillian. I was at the grocery store when I saw her in the checkout line. I knew it was her from photos Luke had left on his phone months ago. She was pretty, with long dark hair and a nervous smile. I could have ignored her, but something in me snapped. I walked up, calm as I could manage. "You're Lillian, right?" Her eyes widened. Yeah. "You're Sandra?" "Yup. The old wife Luke traded in." I kept my voice low, but firm. "I don't know what he told you, but you're not just breaking up a marriage. You're hurting my daughter. Think about that next time you're connecting with him." She stammered, clearly rattled, and I walked away before she could respond. It wasn't my proudest moment, but it felt good to reclaim a piece of my power. A few weeks after Luke's announcement, I found myself staring at old photo albums, trying to make sense of where it all went wrong. There was one picture from our honeymoon, Luke and I on a beach, laughing, sunburned, and so in love it hurt to look at. We were 26 then, fearless, dreaming of a big family and a house with a porch swing. I remembered how he'd promised to always have my back, no matter what. Had that version of Luke ever existed, or was I just naive? The memory stung, but it also reminded me of who I used to be, a woman who believed in herself. I closed the album and vowed to find her again, not for Luke, but for me and Ellie. The financial mess Luke left behind wasn't just about numbers, it felt like a personal attack. I spent nights poring over bank statements, my laptop glowing in the dark kitchen, trying to track where our savings had gone. One transaction stood out, a $2,000 payment to a jewelry store, dated a month before he left. It wasn't for me, I hadn't gotten a gift like that in years. The realization that he'd been spending our money on Lillian made my blood boil. I called Karen the next morning, and she added it to the case, her voice sharp with determination. "We'll make him pay for this, Sandra," she said. It wasn't just about the money, it was about reclaiming my dignity. One afternoon, I met my friend Kevin for coffee. He'd been my college buddy, always the one to make me laugh when life got heavy. Over lattes, I spilled everything, Luke's affair, Ellie's anger, the promotion I almost lost. Kevin listened, his usual jokes replaced by a quiet intensity. "You're stronger than you know, Sandra," he said. "Luke didn't just betray you, he underestimated you. Use that." His words stuck with me, like a lifeline. Kevin's belief in me, so different from Luke's dismissal, gave me a spark of hope. I hugged him goodbye, feeling a little less alone in the fight. The confrontation with Lillian at the grocery store replayed in my mind for days. Had I been too harsh? Part of me felt guilty, she was young, maybe manipulated by Luke's charm, but another part felt justified. I'd spent years being the good wife, swallowing my anger to keep the peace. Standing up to her, even briefly, was like breaking a chain. I started journaling about it, scribbling my thoughts late at night. It wasn't just about Lillian, it was about every time I'd let someone, Luke, his mom, even myself, make me feel small. Writing it down helped me see how far I'd come, and how much further I wanted to go. The client pitch at work was my make or break moment. The night before, I barely slept, rehearsing until my voice was hoarse. When the day came, I walked into the conference room, looked at the clients, and delivered. Every slide, every answer, was spot on. Gabriel gave me a small nod as I finished, and I knew I'd done it. A week later, he called me into his office. "You got the promotion," he said, smiling. "And the clients want you on their account permanently. Great work, Sandra." The raise wasn't huge, but it eased the financial strain. More than that, it was proof I could still win, even when life was kicking me down. At home, things with Ellie were improving. Counseling helped her see Luke's flaws, and she started opening up about how he'd been different with Lillian around, less attentive, more distracted. It broke my heart, but it brought us closer. We started having movie nights again, just the two of us, laughing like we used to. The final twist came months later. I heard through a friend that Lillian had dumped Luke. Apparently, she'd realized he wasn't the Prince Charming he pretended to be, especially when his money ran low. Part of me felt vindicated, but mostly, I just felt free. Today, I'm in a better place than when Luke dropped his bombshell. The house is ours, Ellie's happier, and I'm thriving at work. I've even started dating again, though nothing serious. Gabriel and I have grabbed coffee a few times, and there's a spark, but I'm taking it slow. Looking back, I realize this taught me something profound. Resilience isn't about avoiding pain, it's about walking through it and coming out stronger. I've forgiven Luke, not for him, but for me. Holding on to anger was like drinking poison and expecting him to suffer. Letting go set me free. But I'm still curious about what others think. If you were in my shoes, what would you have done differently? Should I have confronted Lillian? Fought harder for the marriage? Or was walking away and rebuilding the smartest move? I'd love to hear your thoughts, because even now, I wonder if I made the best choices. Life's messy, but it's also beautiful. And I'm proof you can lose everything and still find a way to win.
Appreciate you watching. Give it a like, hit subscribe, and catch more drama next time.